So you've got yourself a piano and you've decided that you want to tune it yourself. I get it. When I bought my first car, I wanted to service it myself, change the oil filter, the air cleaner, etc. It's not exactly rocket science, is it? And some people are just curious about mechanical things and they just like to do things themselves. Like I said, I get it. But the bottom line is that it will take you hours of practice every day for many months, even years, before you'll be good at tuning a piano. That's just the way it is. However, if your standards aren't too high and you're just curious to have a go and you don't have access to a tuner or it costs too much, here's some information that can help you tune your own piano. It's not a recipe to become a piano tuner, but it will help you with the basics of tuning your own piano. Okay, you're going to need a few basic tools. Here's what I generally use when I'm just carrying out a standard tuning. You'll need a tuning lever, you'll need some mutes, we'll talk about that soon, and you're going to need some software. Now the reason I say software is that this video is not going to take you through the intricacies of the aural tuning method. That's way outside the scope of this video, and what we're trying to achieve is for you to be able to tune your piano to a reasonable standard, and to do that you're going to need some software. The tuning lever I have, in fact I have 3 different ones I carry around with me on the road. You don't need anything this good, and they cost upwards of $1,000 each, or at least one of them does. I'll tell you what I think you should get in a minute. You're going to need some mutes. Mutes are used to, as the name suggests, mute strings. You need them so that you can isolate strings and listen to them in isolation or unison. Software. Now, I use a software app called Rayburn Cybertuner. I use it because I personally believe it's the best tuning software out there, and it allows me to do the very best work I can on the 15 to 20 pianos that I tune every week. It's amazing, but it costs 1,600 Australian dollars and another $129 a year for the subscription. And that's fine for a professional, but not what I would recommend for you. You want something that will do a reasonable job for free, or as close to free as possible, and I believe I found the app for you. It's called Pianometer, and I'm confident it's going to give you a good result. Maybe not super professional, but I think it will give you a good result. Pianometer have a free version, we're interested in that one probably, a plus version, we might be interested in that, and they have a pro version, we're not interested in that. The free version isn't ideal, but there is a workaround that makes it usable. The pro version, like I said, overkill for the hobbyist. The plus version will set you back just $25 US. So if you can't be bothered with the workaround necessary on the free version and don't mind shelling out $25 US, then the plus version makes a lot of sense, I think. Okay, software done. Now you need a tuning lever and some mutes. I purchased this tuning lever and mutes on Amazon for only 85 Australian dollars. Again, the links I'll leave below in the notes. Now, while you can purchase a cheaper lever, this was the cheapest lever I could find that had a star tip. And my recommendation is not to get a square tip, because that's only going to allow you to grip the tuning pin in 4 places on the 360 degree plane. The star tip, or multifaceted tip, will allow you to get your lever into the correct position on the piano. Now this $85 kit came with a usable tuning lever, a strip mute, which is basically a long piece of felt used for muting multiple notes, and I'm not personally a fan, an assortment of rubber mutes, again, not really a fan, felt mute like these, and a PAPS mute on a upright piano. They're great. Oh, and this nice little bag to keep all your gear together. $85, I think it's a bargain. So here we are in front of an upright piano, an out of tune upright piano, because that's what most of you will have, but the same applies to a grand piano. The same processes apply to a grand piano. Grab your bit of software, open it up, and we are going to do some recording. Notice that your voice will start recording notes. We don't want that, so there's a little lock button you can put on there, but you want it not to be nice and clean. But I'll start anyway. We'll just play some A's, starting from A1. Okay, that's probably enough information for it to get started. When I tune a piano using an electronic tuning device, I will generally start at the bass and just work my way through tuning all of the unisons as we go, but we're not going to do that today because it's easier for you to hear the out of tune unisons and the beats, the the phasing, if you like, in the midsection. As you progressively go down lower and progressively go up higher, it becomes really problematic and difficult to hear. So it makes sense to start where it's a bit easier. So on this piano, that is D sharp, B flat. That is what we call the tenor treble break, and we're going to start here and move our way up. Before we start though, notice that on the piano, in this piano at least, the first octave and one note, so from low A up until B flat 1, the hammer hits one string. But then we go to a bichord. So from, in this piano, like I say, from B through to B1 up until E3, they are bichords. So one hammer hits two strings. And then from F3 right through to the end, note 88, we're hitting three strings. So anyway, as I say, let's start. So we don't want to hear two strings, we want to hear one string. So we're going to put our felt mute or felt wedge mute in between the notes here, and now we are only hearing the left hand string. So as I play that, you will notice on the software that it is telling us that D sharp is 12% of a semitone flat, 12 cents flat, and we're going to bring that up. The idea, I actually tune left-handed, so you see the strings raking slightly to the right here. Or if I tuned with my right hand, I would have that on this angle, but I tune with my left hand. So I will have it, in this case, pretty much straight up and down. And we will bring that note, according to Piano Meter software, slightly past where it needs to go and then just slightly down. So there it is, sitting pretty much exactly where it needs to be. Now we're going to move this wedge to the right, to the next string, and we will have one string in tune and one string flat. Can you hear it? I hope you can hear it. If you can't, I'm worried. So we need to leave the left hand string alone because we've just tuned that, and we're going to go to the next string. And we're not looking, well, you can look at the app if you want, but really no need. You should be now using your ears to hear the phasing or the beating. Just past. Too critical, but we're trying to hear one note. Can you hear that? One note, no beats. And that note is now in tune. Simple, let's move on. E is telling us on this bit of software that it's roughly 14% of a semitone flat, 14 cents flat. We'll use the software to bring it up to where it should be. I'm not going to use this anymore because the next note has got three strings and we use a different mute. So we'll put that down, we'll tune the unison. And we'll move on to our next note. Now we're going to use this mute. This mute is called a PAPS mute. It enables you to isolate two strings at once. In this case, I'm isolating the middle and the right hand string, and we're just listening to the left hand string. It doesn't really matter which method you use of muting, as long as you achieve the result that we're looking for. So you could, for instance, mute it this way and just have a single string, the middle string I should say, or the right hand string if you want, but we're going to use the left hand string. So we've got our tuning lever on the correct pin. We've taken a recording, it's 18% of a semitone flat roughly, and we bring it up. Now we're going to pull the mute out, and we're going to just now mute the right hand string, which leaves the middle string flat and the left hand string correct. Tune it so it sounds like one note. Now we can do two things here. We can either now mute the left hand string so we've only got the middle or the right, or we could move on to the next string and put it in place. Now we're listening to the left and the middle string as one unison, one solid unison, in tune unison, and we've just got the right hand string flat. One note, yeah, more or less. And then we just move on. Now, there's a whole lot of detail around what they call setting the string hammer technique, how you make sure you don't bend the tuning pin, etc., and making sure that there's the highest tension in the speaking part of the string. I don't want to go into too much detail. Extensively, and like I say, it's outside the scope of this video, and this is just the basics, the very, very basics. The best way to approach this is that when you're tuning a piano and you're dealing with a string, so we're dealing with, we'll go back to this string again, and you're making movements, just make sure you don't tune like this. Hit the string pretty hard, or hit the note pretty hard. I generally speaking tune with 2 fingers, and we'll do a close-up of this in a minute. And if you're really wanting to make sure that the string's settled, you give it a quick, fairly forceful blow, and that will help settle the string. Because otherwise, what will happen, if you tune the piano all beautifully and you spend hours getting it just where you want it, as soon as you play louder than you tuned, the piano's going to go out of tune, and that's pretty heartbreaking. Tuning's important, of course, getting the notes where they need to be, but trying to keep them there, stability, is even more important. Okay guys, so that's a wrap. I'm confident that armed with this information, coupled with a fair bit of patience and practice, you will be able to get your piano into a reasonable state of tune. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and as always, if you have questions, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will do my best to respond. Please also take a moment to like and subscribe. This really helps my channel and will give me the ability to make more videos like this one. Thanks so much for watching.